Chapter 443, This is a Treasure Trove. Yuxiang Mountain, it was where they gathered the core members under Undying level. Lightning Island was where all the Undyings of the Virtual Universe Company gathered. It was the gathering point of those with highest authority. Walking in the public region, he would see sector lords everywhere, easily spotting up to 100 of them. And 99% of them were recognized by their law origins, with marks on their foreheads. Sector lords that gain the recognition of their origin laws in the Black Dragon Mountain star field, they would be at the level of Jiang Tianchen. Luo Feng exclaimed, however, in the Virtual Universe Company, even though they were such a great leviathan, they only barely received the right to enter the last phase secret area. There were probably over 100 million sector lords that can't even enter the core. No wonder during the Genius Battle, even for the top 1,000, one of the 3 great prizes was to become a core member. After a while, they reached a spacious quiet limestone road. The sides of the path were covered with flowers. Through the flowers' organization and arrangement, one could make out the words in universe language, Absolute Beginning Region. D. The skinny old man's body glimmered slightly and he couldn't proceed further. He had to shout out, Your Majesty, I'm no longer able to proceed any further. Follow this path and the region ahead is the Absolute Beginning Region. There'll be managers there to lead you within. Thank you, Mr. Wuxia. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Following the beautiful and quiet limestone path, smelling the fragrance of the flowers and plants beside, his footsteps got quicker as he moved. After half a minute of walking and about 10 kilometers of distance, he reached an incredibly luxurious entrance to the Absolute Beginning Region. There were many staff around. Seeing Luo Feng approach, one leader stepped forward to invite him over. Your Majesty Luo Feng, we've been awaiting your arrival. A beautiful lady with a fox tail was very passionate. There was a fire mark on her forehead. You can just call me Fox. I am the manager placed specially for the affairs of the Absolute Beginning Region. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. Actually, as this was the virtual universe, things like cleanliness or sweeping, maintenance of the plants and flowers, these could all be easily simulated immediately. However, maybe for the realism effect, these were all 100% simulated, even arranging for a large amount of staff to specially sweep and maintain the gardens, and even service the members. When one was hungry, he'd have to buy something to eat. When one was thirsty, he'd have to buy something to drink. One had to spend money even within his own house, even in the virtual universe. Everything that happened here was truly like it would happen in the real world. As it was too realistic, in the vast universe, many people who were rich and always protected by their ancestors from the beginning, without facing any dangers in their lives, would spend most of their lives in the virtual universe or play virtual games, doing whatever they pleased. Many of them had already treated the virtual universe as their reality. However, this type of illusory lives, only few people could actually enjoy it. After all, doing anything in the virtual universe still required money. Even maintaining contacts had its usage fees. Without funds from their ancestors, one was unable to live such a life. Your Majesty Luo Feng, please follow me. The Sector Lord Fox smiled and led the way. Who? The two of them flew up into the sky. As one of the 5 regions, its area was huge. After all, even though it was 1/5 of the entire Yuxiang Mountain, it was still bigger than the entire surface area of Earth. And this whole area was given to only a little more than 1,000 people to live in. The absolute beginning region has a total of 1,138 members. Flying in mid-air, Lady Fox pointed below. Within this region there are many training spaces, libraries, restaurants, etc. As for the living quarters, they are all right at the back. The 1,138 villas, every one of them with a length of 98 kilometers and width of 81 kilometers. Luo Feng was shocked when he heard this. 98 kilometers long and 81 kilometers wide, such a huge villa was simply too extravagant. This was the treatment for the people of absolute beginning, and the lowest last phase region had to live in apartments. The highest level primal region had areas of diameters over 1,000 kilometers. Your Majesty Luo Feng's villa is number 1136. Lady Fox pointed at a distant, incredibly quiet villa. It obviously looked very ancient, and on its walls were many different kinds of plants. So. The two descended. Your Majesty. The large door of the villa was 100 m high. 26 m tall bull giants bowed respectfully. Your Majesty Luo Feng. Lady Fox smiled. As a member of the absolute beginning secret area, your guards form a large team. This team comprises of a general, 10 captains and 100 soldiers. Of which, the general is a sector lord of the last phase secret area. The 10 captains are domain lords and the 100 soldiers are universe level. In the virtual universe, they'll be stationed here by your Majesty. In reality, they will similarly protect your Majesty and listen to your command. Luo Feng nodded, feeling shocked within. Even though he had heard from Rong Jun earlier, however, actually seeing it was pretty shocking. 2 domain lords guarded the doors. 1 guard team, the leader of the group was a sector lord recognized by the origin laws. However, according to the news he acquired before, the guard team of the absolute beginning member paled in comparison to the primal members. Their guard team was led by an undying. Other than the guard team, there are 100 helpers and staff standing by within the villa to assist you. Lady Fox smiled and said. At this time a gust of wind blew over as a group of people suddenly appeared at the entrance. Leading the group was a bald old man who looked very similar to the people of Earth. This bald old man looked at Luo Feng and bowed, Your Majesty. The large group of people behind too all bowed respectfully, shouting out simultaneously, Greetings, Your Majesty. This is the leader of the guard team. His full name is Ao Duo Li Kuan Sheng Lai Suo. Lady Fox smiled and said. Your Majesty can simply call me Ao Duo. The bald old man said. Mr. Ao Duo, I'll be in your care from now on. Luo Feng was respectful. Of course. Ao Duo Liku said. Internally he wasn't fully comfortable though. From the virtual universe company's arrangement and status ranking, he was indeed lower than Luo Feng, but he was after all a sector lord recognized by the origin laws. His Majesty before him was a genius no doubt, but still not a strong warrior. He may even fall before he reached the sector lord level. Lady Fox said, Your Majesty Luo Feng, then I'll take my leave. Everything within here, Ao Duo knows well, he'll inform you if you need. Thank you, Lady Fox. Luo Feng nodded. Lady Fox immediately became a beam of light vanished into the distance. Your Majesty, please. Ao Duo Liku led the way and Luo Feng entered his own villa. Within the villa, with a glance, he was able to see that everything was filled with greenery and looked very natural. Over there is Your Majesty's training grounds. Ao Duo pointed at the distant large construct that was sealed. The entire grounds is 50 kilometers long and 30 kilometers wide. The height is 300 m, and the interiors are all incredibly solid. Luo Feng nodded satisfied. His speed on the Dark Cloud shuttle was shocking. If the space was too small, he wouldn't be able to unleash it all. 50 kilometers long and 30 kilometers wide and 300 tall, that was not bad for a controller. He could get by. Of course, such a huge space for a fighter would be too much. What if he wanted a bigger place? He'd have to get into the Primal Secret Area. Primal Secret Area members even had undying teachers stationed there specially for them. That's the swimming pond. Duo pointed at a large pool at the other side. The pool is separated into the internal pool and external pool. The internal pool is infused with special qualities. Lying in it can help a tired body recover quickly, and it is further separated into 6 regions according to the temperature of the water. This actually simulates reality in the actual absolute beginning secret area. Your Majesty's living quarters is even better than here. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, shaking his head. Unfortunately, it will still take a while to get there. His trip in the universe this time was 3 years long. After 3 years he'd enter the primal universe, and only after exiting from there would he be able to enter the absolute beginning secret area. Duo continued to introduce the facilities of the constructs. He pointed to the distant quiet 3-story building. Your Majesty, there's where you'll spend your regular life. Whatever you want in there, you can arrange for virtual helpers to make it happen according to your likes and hobbies. Within the villa, this construct's first level was for welcoming guests. The second level was for fun, and the third was a bedroom with a huge screen and other things within. He started changing the system to what he was accustomed to on Earth, a laptop-like computer. Along with some news and the entertainment broadcasts, he changed to somewhat like a television. Even the book racks on the side he translated all to Mandarin. He also immediately altered a few chairs and bed structures. That's about right. Luo Feng smiled and sat in the chair. After which he opened his laptop and opened a treasure trove mail. Opening it, the screen immediately displayed 8 categories. The secret laws, secret weapons, unique treasures, technology weapons, materials, tools, living things, and other special types. Every one of these categories had many little subdivisions, like under the living things floated plant life, metal lives, beasts, etc., and under techniques were different types. Tens of millions of categories to open. Luo Feng opened the treasure category from the trove. The fist-sized little demon Babata shouted out. Luo Feng gently tapped. Immediately a huge blur of countless words appeared along with pictures. 10k spirit purple blood juice, 120k points for 1 portion, primal area 70% of the price, absolute beginning 80%, heaven and land 90%, last phase full price. 7 color fruit 100k for 1 portion, primal area 70% of the price, absolute beginning 80%, heaven and land 90%, last phase full price. Kuli crystal 200k for 1 portion, primal area 70% of the price, absolute beginning 80%, heaven and land 90%, last phase full price. My God, it's too extravagant, it's simply bullying people. Even when your teacher wanted to buy them, they limited his portions. Every time he went for the auctions to buy them, they'd be astronomical prices. And they have everything here, requiring only points to exchange for. What bullshit is this points? Babata shouted, open the techniques category, soul techniques. Luo Feng opened again. Looking at 7 Starlight, Eternity, Void Pagoda, DRC's secret works, looking at all these extremely well-reputed techniques in the universe, it was almost as though everything had simply appeared with just one look, and this was only the first page. Madness, madness. Outside, the Undyings are all fighting extremely hard just for a small treasure. Yet, this virtual universe company actually uses some bullshit point system to exchange for them? Points, this is completely their internal system, not like cash outside. The demon Babata was completely agitated. Open. Open it for me. Babata stared and roared. Luo Feng obediently opened file after file. The numbers were extraordinary. Anything one could imagine could be found there. The virtual universe company's treasure trove list had completely shocked Babata. He already knew the virtual universe company was terrifyingly strong. The master of the Yun-Mo planet who was leading that solitude life as an undying couldn't compare to even a strand of hair of this. However, looking at these, Babata was still utterly shocked.